And you're live.
And I'm live. I just poured a cup of coffee out of a great cup, veganist. And we're here. Good morning, good day, good afternoon, good evening, good everything. Is anyone here? Is Leslie Williams here?
Not yet, but okay. I was just wanted to be very clear that you were actually in the Learn to Communicate page. I have in the past, at the very beginning when we did this, getting used to it. Remember when we posted in the wrong page?
Yes.
I remember. So we're waiting for people.
Okay.
Oh, yes, Leslie says hi, and Joyce Lee Leggett is on.
I knew it.
I'm checking the...
Yes, Leslie says hi.
Okay, talk.
Okay, I'm talking. Testing. Is my mic working?
Mm-mm. Give it to me. It's not on. Now it's on.
Okay.
That would help. Is it blinking?
Yeah.
That means it's not connected.
Okay.
Okay, let's try it now.
Okay, trying again. Testing. Okay, good. All right. Good morning again. We'll just start over. Good morning. Where's Leslie and Joyce? Okay, so here we are at Live with Joan in Learn to Communicate with Animals with Joan. And I have a little fun plan today. And let's see. It's a gorgeous day. We went on a big hike. And what else? And I'm on chapter 7. I'm actually almost done with chapter 7 of the chakra book. And so that has been amazing. And I'll talk about that in a minute. And then, let's see, we have the Animal Communication 101 book coming out in a few weeks. So that's my self-published. The other one is the published book that's due Monday. I've cleared the decks. I'm teaching at 11 today, and then that's it.
We're doing videos, and then I'm leaving.
Yeah. And then I'm writing a book. I'm finishing a book.
Last night I said to Joan, I'm going to have to leave a little bit early for a doctor's appointment. And you're like, I'm writing a book. I'm like, I lost it anyway. We've got quite a few people.
Oh, goody.
So as you know, Leslie says hi. Joyce Lee Leggett says hi. Sarah Burkett says good morning.
Oh, good morning.
Good morning, Sarah.
Sarah's going to be here in a couple weeks, and then we're going to be in Tanzania, Kenya, with the Sheldrick Trust elephants for 3 days at a Tumba camp. Which, Sarah, you're going to pass out. You're not even going to believe it. And then Sarah, who had sent me texts regularly saying, "No way am I doing this gorilla trip," is going with me to Rwanda. So, well, there's some big fun ahead.
Ellen Dillon says hello.
Hello. Ellen, didn't we talk to your sister's dog the other day in class? Mm-hmm. How are they doing?
I'll let her respond. Audrey Johnson says good morning.
Good morning.
Terry Ann McGrath says good morning, ladies. Let's do this.
Let's do this. We're going to have a dance party. Yeah, and fall intensive. I knew I was going to say that. Fall intensive is like in 2 minutes. It's not this Friday, but next Friday.
A week from Friday.
Yeah, so it's going to be super fun.
Connie Oth says good morning, New Mexico, gorgeous as well.
Good morning. Yeah, I love New Mexico.
Elaine Livingston says good morning.
Good morning.
Ellen Dillon says you did talking to her sister and her dog, and she says she's working on thinking up some jobs for him.
Oh, good.
Leah Thankari says good morning.
That is a great dog. A great dog, and it was a really, really, really fun class. And just for people that are wondering, in our advanced, the Tuesday, what I teach at 11 is animal communication, behaviors, dynamics, and relationships. And that's a perfect example of, you know, when you're communicating with animals, you have the essence and the favorite things, but who they are, I mean, you know, we're all created by our environment to some degree. We're influenced by it. And in this situation, you know, he has the other dog in the household is perfect and has all the jobs. So if you're fun and exuberant and all these things, you know, you're just kind of smacking up against the wall. So anyway, in the advanced class, I bring in outside people. I often don't know who they are. I mean, I met a guy in an airport once and he was telling me about his divorce and how his dogs were weird. And I'm like, what are you doing Tuesday night? It's not a date. So anyway, I mean, I've brought complete strangers into class, but it's been great because, it's it's, it's what a session would be like, you know? Anyway, that's that.
She says thanks for helping her.
Yeah, thank you. It was really fun.
Okay, so wait, when she leaves says good afternoon from Norway. Good afternoon. Charlie
afternoon.
Charlie Tail says, I missed the dance parties at the intensive. So fun.
Why don't you come down? It's really simple.
I know, right? And Shiloh, hi Shiloh. She says hi from Shiloh. And Ellen Dillon says the other dog in the house is a little bit psycho as well.
Yeah, I gathered. But that's the thing. She has it all covered. Okay. So I wanted to, you know, what I wanted to do today is, in my newsletter the other day, if you're on my newsletter, then you would have seen, the picture. Oh my God, is there any way that we can get that picture into the okay, so let me tell the story and she's going to find the picture and we're going to put the picture in. And we may just have to separately, like, well, I think it'll end up being a post. That's right. It's going to be a post, but it's worth seeing while I'm telling the story. So, a woman called me. You know, even though I'm retired from doing sessions, every now and then somebody bursts through with Leah. And no, the picture of all the cats.
Yeah. Okay.
Keep going. Anyway, so all the, so mostly it's old clients. Like yesterday, I talked to a few horses that have been clients for a million years, all from Seattle, and all had bucking issues for different reasons. Anyway, very fun. But this woman that maybe I talked to her cats years ago, but somehow, she charmed Leah and she got an appointment and, she, had at the time, the original appointment, 7 cats. And then, and 2 were siblings, right? 2 like 1-year-old siblings. And this is again, a great situation of relationship and dynamics. So there was one about 4 years old. And one thing I really admire is that they're of all ages. Like, I love how she's stacked her household. So there's an elderly guy who was kind of the old guard, right, of the whole situation before all these new cats came in. He's got his ways, but these 2 younger cats come in and are like, kind of rough him up a little. Oh, a little bird's trying to get in the house. And then, will you see if that little bird's okay? And then there was one that was about 4 years old. So the 2 1-year-olds were going after the older guy. And the 3 or 4-year-old would get swept up in the activity and be like, yeah, and go after him also. So, is it okay? Okay.
Yeah, just trying to find something that we keep looking up.
Okay. So I'm going to do some tapping with them, but in the meantime, I suggested something from my first book, and it's also in my Energy Healing for Animals book, but this is my first book, Communication with All Life. Came out in 2007 with Hay House. Yeah, it's, anyway, I suggested that she take yeah, here it is.
Want me to post it in the chat? Oh, I can't.
Yeah, and did you find it?
Yeah.
The picture?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, put it in the thread, if you could. Yeah, well.
In the comments?
It doesn't have a little photo?
Mm-mm.
All right. Anyway, on page 150, I talk about visualization. And one of the things I talk about in here was it's not cheating to pull out photos of your pets in more harmonious time and allow them to be visible while you're reprogramming your brain. So what I had, yes. Okay, so let me, no, not yet.
Not yet. Okay, you tell me when.
So what I had was, I way back, and it would be like weirdly sized. I had people, I've been doing this for a long time. So back in the 90s, people didn't have computers to resize photos and what have you. But I would have, sleeping is the ultimate peace, right? So I would have people, if they had animals that didn't get along, cut out pictures of each of the animals sleeping next to each other on the couch. And so here we go. Let's go ahead. So this is what her husband came up with. And the cats are doing much better since. And it's funny because the two youngest ones are up against in a pile with the one that they've been picking on. And so there's much more peace. I mean, I'm still going to tap with them, but there's much more peace in the household. And I just forgot how powerful that tool is, right? And so, it's an easy thing. It doesn't cost anything. You just cut photos out. I mean, like I said, it used to be like weirdly sized things, but you put that photo in different places around the house so that you're constantly reprogramming your own brain that, like, oh, well, they sleep together, right? You don't sit and stop and go, that's just not true, So anyway,
I want to show it again because that's actually, when I first saw it, I couldn't, and I'm a photographer, I couldn't believe that was photo edited. It's so well done. But it doesn't have to, it doesn't have to be that perfect. Yeah, okay. People are commenting. Suslin Doty says, I put them in an infinity symbol.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, good idea. And Sarah Burkett says, I love it.
Yeah. The couch is the ultimate, truth. So anyway, it's, I'm really, 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 really excited about how the progress in that household. So, and then they add another cat, like after all that, and the new cat is on the far end, one of the black cats. Yeah, let me show you, actually.
Here, put it this way so they can see better.
So it's these two.
You can't, you gotta pull it
I know, I will. It's these two little ones that are the troublemakers. Isn't that hilarious?
It's so good.
Yeah, and they're sleeping with him. He put them all together. And then that's the new one, the black one. Yeah, so, I mean, it's amazing. And they live in Tennessee with, 8 cats. And so, the thing is when we have a challenge in our household, And this is why I love teaching animal communication, the advanced, behavior dynamics and relationships, because it really is so important that we make it light, right? It doesn't have to be this heavy thing. We can do tapping and things like that to release any heaviness or the old story or this or that. But then it really is like getting very creative, So, I know, for me, for example, I have a horse, Anya, she's retired because she's got some pretty significant lameness issues. But, back in the day, she was, um, she was very high up in the ranks when I got her in dressage, but she would have some milder lameness. And I literally, after I meditated, in the morning, I would spend just not even a minute just imagining a move called the canter half pass. And it would work like a charm for up until last December. Literally, that's how I got her out of lameness, is I just pictured us doing a canter half pass across the arena, coming around to the right, coming down the center line, and doing a canter half pass to the right. So that was my go-to to get her out of lameness. I did it with Gabrielle for years and years and years. I just pictured that after I rode Anya and did the canter half pass, that I lunged, a light lunge, and lunging is making them go in a circle. This was more like a square because she had one good leg. So, anyway, I pictured us moving together every day, and that's what we did. I would ride Anya, and I would get Gabrielle moving, and then I would lunge Drakkar. And I did it with Drakkar, and I have to go back to it because, Drakkar and I went really far, and then we got to an impasse, and it's, then I get in my head, is it that he physically can't do it? Is it this, right? And I'm going to go back up to dreaming it up. And I talk about this all the time. Like, I dream up everything. Like, by the time I got the TEDx talk, I've been dreaming it up for a couple of years, right? Every book deal, like, I know they're coming. I'm not surprised. And it's not that I'm not excited and grateful, but I kind of expect it. So the same thing is true with our animals and their behavior. And what happens with that expectation is that, and I'll tell my Raleigh story now, we come to expect a certain behavior, right? Is anyone commenting?
Leslie Williams says it's brilliant.
Yeah, about the picture, yeah. So I know you probably heard this before, but it's worth retelling. When this book came out, and at the time, there were a lot of animal communicators, but there weren't a lot. So I was very busy, and I'd been on a lot of, been on Good Morning America, the Today Show. I mean, you name it, I'd been on those shows. So I was, pretty in my world. So 2008, I move up to the Seattle area after I'm in a divorce, and my mom had died, but my dad was still alive. But he was like, well, he died in 90, so he was 89 then. And when they're that age, like, there's a lot of doctor's appointments, and it's not because it's going to go well. So anyway, a lot was going on in my world, and my book came out, and my cat disappeared. Anyway, I had I had I thought I wanted a healing center, so I created this healing center. And it turns out, I guess I wanted a school, but I set up this healing center, and I had this horse trailer, and I thought, what my horse Raleigh would not get in the horse trailer. Like, he was a jackass, and that's mild. So what would happen is, like, years before that, in the year 2000, I had briefly lived in Seattle, or in 1999, I moved to Seattle, but then ended up moving to Denver from LA because I got married. So anyway, I picked up Raleigh along the way. My fiance that became my husband, that became my divorced ex-husband, thought I only had one horse, but by the time I was in Denver, I had two. So anyway, Raleigh was the horse. And way back, so historically, I would go ride with Christina Drake. I would take, I would get Raleigh. The friend that I got Raleigh and her car from we would trailer two horses over to where Christina was. So if the lesson was at noon, what time did I leave my house? And it was only a half-hour drive between barns. Yeah, 6 a.m. Because it was an hour drive to the barn for me. And then there would be a 3-hour fight. And I'm not kidding. A 3-hour fight to get him in the trailer. We'd get him in the trailer. We're all exhausted. We would ride. We'd have a great ride because we're all exhausted. And then, you know, it wouldn't be that big a fight to get him back in the trailer to go home. And so I would literally get home at 6 o'clock at night from one lesson. Like, I took Wednesdays off for that one lesson at noon with Christina Drake. And my cat would look at me when I'd get home like, yeah, dumbass. That was your day. So anyway, what happened was he would put up such a fight. And so I expected it and I allowed time for it, right? I set it into the schedule. I'm not taking clients on Wednesday because I have a lesson at noon. I mean, I ride almost 4 days a week now, and early in the morning, sometimes I have a trainer come over, and you know what? I mean, granted, I don't have a trailer, but it's like I'm in, I'm out. You would never know. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday morning, sometimes Sundays, I ride at 8 in the morning, no matter what. Except yesterday because I'm finishing a book. Anyway, but the point is that I had this, it shouldn't have been that big a deal. So now I'm in Seattle, but mind you, in the 8 years that I was married, I lived in Denver and Florida with that horse. So in other words, that horse had gotten on a trailer and went from Seattle to Denver, went from Denver to Florida. And I actually was part of the trailering. It was a friend of mine that trailered him Denver to Florida, which was, we did it in 3 days, three days. And, you know, I got him out and walked him, you know, in St. Louis. I got him out and walked him in Tennessee. I got him out and walked him in, we stayed in Ocala, even though it was just 2 hours, well, 6 hours on down to South Florida. So anyway, my point is that we got him in and out of the trailer, like on moves. And we also, yeah, he's moved. Then he moved all the way from South Florida to Seattle. All the way. And anyway, so I decided I'm going to get this guy to come help. And this, like, horse whisperer dude. So Scott drives up first thing in the morning, and he's like, show me what happens when you take Raleigh to get into the trailer. I was like, sure. So I take Raleigh toward the trailer, and he's 17 something hands, so he's taller than Drakkar. He would just brace his 2 front feet, just like, I'm not doing it. He'd see the trailer door open. Oh no, not going there. And so that would create some tension, right? And he'd have this look in his eye, and I would say, come on, and he wouldn't. And I would do, you know, a couple of moves, and he would get bigger. And now I'm cussing, which he hated cussing. I'm cussing, and then he would get bigger, and I would get bigger, and he would get bigger. And finally, at one point, I realized when we were like, ah! He was really having fun. This was his idea of a good time. And I was not at all having fun. But I expected this. So I finally gave up, and the horse whisperer, you know, when you're doing training, you can't let them win or whatever. So the horse whisperer, they had a moment, where Raleigh was like, yeah, Jude, like they had to size each other up, and then they had a bromance, and he walked right in the trailer. And he said, what do you think I did that was different than you? And I said, well, we both have different expectations for starters. You are expecting him to get in the trailer. I am not. I'm expecting a fight, and then he'll get in the trailer. But also you were calm and I was not. And, you know, that's not who I portray in this book, right? So I was like, okay, great lesson. You know, see you tomorrow morning. So the next morning I got up, and I didn't get up. After I meditated, I sat and I visualized him just walking, me being calm, and him walking right into the trailer. So when Scott pulls up and we go get Raleigh, what happens? He walks straight into the trailer. So I did two things. I remained calm, and I had a different expectation, but I had worked on it through visualization. So, is anyone commenting?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Susie Reed says, I love this story info. Shiloh says, I did something similar to calm Suki the Shiba from car travel. It's amazing how it worked. Elaine Livingston says, I've heard of athletes using this technique, but never thought of using it on our animals.
Well, we're
Great
going to do it
idea.
right now.
Susan Dowdy says, thank you for sharing. That's my dog. Laughing emoji. She says, I rescued a macaque that loves sitting on doors. I said, oh no, new house, new rules. No more door. She never wanted to go on doors anymore.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, for one thing, it's like it's twofold or it's threefold, right? It's creating an expectation. And in my second book, I actually call it the law of expectation in energy healing for animals. And I think, you know, it is amazing. And I mean, on a side note about that, I had a dog, Isabella, and she once, she was a little bit lame, and I did not go get her. It's like she literally slid off the couch and had a funny step. And she did for like a couple of days. And so I thought, do I want to go get an x-ray? And I thought, no. Because, why? Because I have had, at that point, it was up in Seattle, so it would have been about 2009. It was right around the time, 2010. My dad had died. It was, I had 10 million clients. I mean, at that point, 1 million clients. And so many of these dogs with bone cancer, I would literally say, what made you go get an x-ray or go find out, diagnose? And I don't even know why I asked that question. And every single one of them said, well, it seemed like my dog just slipped off the couch and took a wrong step, but then they stayed lame for a long time. And that's when I went to get the x-ray. So I knew I had that in my head. And until I could clear that, I wasn't going to go get the x-ray because I knew that I half expected, not fully expected, half expected this thing to go really badly. And I wanted a perfect x-ray. And until in my mind I could get the perfect x-ray, I didn't take her in to get the x-ray. And when I was ready, I took her in. And she had a perfect x-ray. It was just little soft tissue damage. So, you know, there's the expectation, then there's the picturing, the visualization, and then there's remaining calm and an assertive calm, like I'm calm and expecting you to do this thing. And it's amazing how effective it is, because even if you can do one part of it and stay calm when you've got like the other day I walked Felina, the new horse, off the property, and it was guns ablazing. I mean, every horse in the neighborhood was like, hello! And it was like, you know, Mount Vesuvius. I mean, it was crazy. So it was a lot, but I just kept remaining calm. And eventually, I wanted to get her down to the Gibbons Center, but I thought, if I just get her down past my property, my horse is screaming, the neighbor horse is screaming, and get her calm, have a good experience. Sometimes good is good enough. So I did, and I remained calm the whole time. So I had this Mexican jumping bean on the end of and a pretty good sized one, because she's a little chunky monkey. She's an air fern. She looks at food and,
A call came through. I just declared it.
so any other comments? Okay. Yes.
I actually had an incident last night with the alpacas. They've been in a new enclosure for the last week and a half, and they have a house now, but the enclosure is in an open area instead of being in a tiny little enclosed yard. And so at night they have to go in. I can't leave them out overnight, even though they want to be out in the fresh air, because it's still kind of warm. It's been happening every night now. It takes longer and longer and longer to herd alpacas. And I told you, then they get the zoomies. And by the way, funniest thing on the planet. So last night I was able to grab the older one and walk him into the house, and the little one, who's also all hopped up, like you say, hopped up on cinnamon swirls, because he's hormonal and he's like all over the place. Joan, I swear to God, I remembered your Raleigh story. So I sat down in the little house, in their little enclosure thing. I sat down, closed my eyes, really got grounded, and just saw him walking towards me. And I kept doing that. And I kept wanting to open my eyes. I'm like, no, I'm still expecting him to run around. And then finally I opened my eyes, and I saw his whole energy change and walk right in.
That's awesome.
But I remembered that's my favorite story of, you literally, all you did was change your expectation.
Change my expectation. Yeah.
Because you should have seen me yesterday.
Oh, the Dammits. I mean, that's why my animals all think their last name is Dammit,
I mean, at night in my PJs, like trying to herd. I was the alpaca wrangler last night.
Yeah,
I thought
good girl.
Raleigh.
Yeah.
And he went right in. After a while.
Yeah. Well, and it'll get shorter and shorter.
Mm-hmm.
Because what happens is also, like, expectation has even a body stance, and Susie would know what I'm talking about with that. Because she, with horses, you just be like, you're getting in there, and especially the more that you can have that kind of, it's consensual authority. Like, I need you to do this thing because, if there's a fire coming, you have to do this thing. So we have to have an amount of leadership that has authority and safety, right? That it is for their highest good that we're doing this thing.
That was a conversation that was had last night. I learned it all here. So Susie says, this is much harder than it seems. My monkey brain will jump in and say, no, that's not going to work. LOL.
Yeah, it's true. But you also you may have your monkey brain, but I know you've got a stance that if you said, you're getting in there, we'd all be getting in that stall.
We'd all be lighting up with the Don't mess with Susie.
No.
So she says, yep, the posture and mindset, the dang monkey can be defeated.
Exactly. That is correct. It's true, right? And it's a standing up. It is because they all posture with each other. That's how they, think about how when dogs meet each other, it's like, oh yeah, you're nice, right? So we have to do the same thing.
Teenage boys do it too.
Teenage boys do it all day long. Yeah. Yeah. So, who all has a challenge at home with your own animals?
Who doesn't?
Start typing it in. What's yours?
The alpacas. Getting them, now that they're in a bigger enclosure, wrangling them. And I had that conversation with them last night. You don't have to love me. I never need to pet you, but you need to let me catch you for emergencies and for your well-being, like for safety, your health, and your well-being. Sarah Burkett says, my Maddie is perfect.
Of course she is.
Leah raised her hand. Oh, I mean, and then we have
Barkity bark bark.
Barkity Bark Bark.
Mm-hmm.
Barkity Bark Bark with her cone.
So it echoes. It's the Hollywood Bowl.
It's so bad now. It's broadcast.
With a speaker.
Susie says, my puppy Quill is getting snipped today. I'm assuming that's it, not sniped. Elaine Livingston, I have said it before, my dogs scream like they're being tortured when I leave the house. Shiloh says scratching. Leah says, we're working on photoshopped image of 3 relaxed kitties.
Good girl.
Susie says leash training is going poorly.
Oh, with Quill? Yeah. Quinn? What is it?
Quill, yeah. Hold on. I'm trying to read without my glasses on.
That's awesome.
Oh, yeah. Suzlyn Dowdy says, I have a flock of birds who are siblings, and they pick on my first bird who's an outsider. I don't want them picking on her. I did my infinity symbol, but nope. Didn't work. Connie Clark says, my blind cat is an asshole to one of the other cats in me.
That's funny. I mean, it's funny enough. Okay, so let's go back to the birds. What I would do is Photoshop the original bird on a higher perch, and then put the other 2 equally below the one, and just as if they're, and I would get pictures of them when they're, or you could put them all on the same perch, but I think that Photoshop has to be either equal or the original one a little bit above, so that they don't feel like they've got that authority. Because I know with birds, it's just like dogs and cats. I've dealt with a lot of clients with that. And the other, sometimes you have to lower the perch. So that picture would be where I would play with that.
Leslie Williams says, Willow getting in the car thinks it's a good game to grab hold of my husband's clothes.
Okay.
Suzlyn says, oh, okay, I never thought of that.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's, so Photoshop that. And like I said, photos where they're most like relaxed, so that you've got that feeling from all 3 of, oh, this is nice. Okay, so anyone else have a problem?
Oh, she says, yes, she's always on the lower perch. I will raise it.
Yeah.
You actually have a story.
In this book, yeah. I think
it's in this book.
Yeah. Yeah, I do have a story. That was with a bird that had been like the soulmate bird, starting to bite. And yeah, I've got a lot of stories like that. Because I mean, sometimes with birds, sometimes it's, it can be hormonal too, but yeah. Anyway, okay, so what we're going to do is I want you to think of the perfect outcome. Like, what is the perfect thing in your mind that would be, and it can be physical too. For example, Delilah injured her back, and so today our hike was a lot slower. And Abby tried to play with her wildly, and it's like, no. But I can't take her again on Thursday if she's that, right? So I'm going to picture Thursday morning. So I'm going to walk us through this little visualization. But does everybody have your perfect outcome ready? Okay, so let's close our eyes. And really focus on your breath for a moment. Breathing into the bottom of your feet. And I want you to imagine that you are with your animal that you absolutely adore, or your animals. And I want you to feel, for the moment, I want you to really fill your heart center with loving pink energy and really feel that love or connectedness or care for that animal. Or those animals. And if you can, I want you to put a smile on your face. Like those animals or that animal just lights your world up. And now I want you, with the smile, to picture your animal doing that thing that is the perfect outcome. And while you're in the bottom of your feet and calm, also feel the relief or the joy or the appreciation for this, either new behavior or having this behavior back. Go ahead and come back into the room. And how did that go? Was that easy to picture? Because sometimes it takes a while to get that picture, but once you get that picture, I keep working on the same picture over and over and over again, especially when it comes to riding or, behavior with my dogs or, just almost like there's step 1, step 2, step 3 of that visualization. So did anyone have any feedback? Okay, in the meantime, I forgot to tell about all the fun things coming up. I didn't even introduce myself.
Yeah, I just realized that too.
Anyway, we have the intensive coming up. We have animal communication level 1 coming up, and energy healing for animals coming up, and animal medical intuition in person, and a massage, 2-day massage, 1 dog, 1 horse day in November. So lots of fun things.
Very exciting. Okay. Leslie Williams says, I got the picture clearly.
Good.
Elaine Livingston says, easy to picture, a little weepy at potential outcome. Yeah.
Because we want, like, our animals screaming if we leave is the opposite of calm, safe, right? So that's the outcome. Everything you do now is leading toward that feeling of safety.
Susie says, yes, the pink blinked in and out, but the dog walked on a loose leash, perfection. Shiloh says, great visualization. Susan Dottie says, medical intuition is where? Oh, I'll answer that. It's here at Joan's Ranquet. I will put the link in. Ellen Dillon says, picturing my cat and the dog. I'm sitting hanging out as I'm hanging out on the couch together. Lisla says, what Leah says.
Because her cat's Suli.
Yeah, well,
Which is
I
Susie
was
and
going to say
Lily.
she wrote easy, so I spelled, yeah, anyway. Easy to picture, thankfully, and feels so good to sit in that harmony. Yeah. Yeah,
it feels really good. Like I kept smiling more. And it's funny when you watch something, I'm going to do, I don't know if we're doing that today. After class, we're going to make some videos and then have to write a book. Until next Monday. And no one's going to see me except for you and Val on Thursday. And my little 96-year-old friend tomorrow. But anyway, when you put a smile on it, it changes. Even if you're not ready to smile, but you still smile, like I can't tell you what that does. I try to smile through my meditations every morning. And then as a result, even if I'm in a hard place, I wake up happy. So it's interesting. And Susie, is your dog pulling or what is the challenge? Because I have an idea.
Says she hasn't responded to that, but she says it does feel good. I pictured me walking up to the alpacas and being able to alter them, and them not,
Yeah. Because it's all head and long neck. Because I have a trick that I've done, and horse people would understand this.
Leah says it feels like the smile brings it into the real world more, into the physical, yes.
Yeah.
She says he pulls and just lays down and quits.
Okay, then I'm going to, we've got 1 second. I want to show you. You know what? I may have to FaceTime you. But what I do is, you know how you get a foal walking on the lead rope for the first time? And you take that rope and you put it around their butt. You've seen me do this with Delilah. Yeah, and Penelope. Yeah. It's like walking a foal. That I knew it was laying down. I knew it wasn't just pulling. So when you have a hold of their whole body, and basically it's like a purse at that point, right? You're walking with a purse and the lead is over their back because you've got, if you take a long leash and you wrap it, sure dog trainers are like, you're a jerk. But you know what? It's just from walking foals. It's how I had Isabella, the feral dog, who just laid flat on her tummy and squealed like a pig when I would put a leash on her. And so I just thought, well, how did I walk Pony Boy when he was, my orphan colt? So yeah, I walked a lot of foals. So if you look at pictures online of the first day of walking a foal on a lead rope, you can make some sort of a contraption for him.
She said, oh, yes. Oh, thank you. Yes. Yes, dang brilliant, she says.
Yeah, and if you need me to FaceTime, I'm here. I'm teaching at 11, but after that, I'm happy to show you the contraptions I've made. Yeah.
Shiloh wants to know if it's something like the T-touch wrapping.
It's similar. It is similar because there's the component here or on the back. On the horse or the dog, the T-touch is on the crossover is on the back. In this, the crossover might be on the stomach, which gives you the control when a dog pancakes.
Susie says you are a rock star.
I have moments. I just have had so many situations that seem impossible, but through creating a different expectation, staying calm, and always visualizing what I want, my animals are pretty good. I mean, I have harmony almost all the time. My worst problem is Drakkar can be kind of mean to Pegasus over food, and even that, I work on that every day when I'm down there just with my finger, and I know, because when I took Pegasus off property, guess Okay. The end. Bye.